If this happens, the subsequent meetings will take place as follows. If the session ends, if the plenary of the COP ends by noon, the extraordinary meeting of the Animals Committee will take place from noon to 1 p.m., 12 to 1 p.m. in the Snow Leopard Room. The extraordinary Plants Committee will meet at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. in the Great Bustard Room. The 80th meeting of the Standing Committee will take place from 2 p.m. onwards, probably until 3 or 3:30 p.m. in Rhodiola Room, which is the room that we met for Committee 2. So if the plenary ends by noon, extraordinary AC is 12 to 13 in Snow Leopard, extraordinary PC 13 to 14 in Great Bustard, SC 80 14 o'clock to 15:30 in Rhodiola. If the plenary ends during the course of the afternoon, then the extraordinary meetings of the ACPC as well as SC80 will take place immediately after the session in the rooms that I have announced. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So, yesterday we closed the session with adoption of Proposal 38 and the inclusion of Grammastola rosa in Appendix 2. As Proposal 39 has been withdrawn, we are now moving to the floral listing proposals. Proposal number 40, American ginseng. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. This proposal was to amend Annotation 3 to exempt finished products packaged and ready for retail trade of thin sliced roots derived from artificially propagated plants of Panax quinquefolius. The proposal CoP20 Prop 40 to amend this annotation number 3, hashtag 3, regarding Panax quinquefolius was not accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. I see no requests. So, non-recommendation of Committee 1 of Proposal 40. Proposal number 40 is rejected. Rejected or?
It's not accepted.
Sure. Next one, 41, Chilean palm. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20 Prop 41 to include Schubert chilensis in Appendix 1 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
Floor is open. Any requests? So, Proposal 41 is adopted. Next one, Proposal 42, ponytail palm. Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20 Prop 42 to include Bocaneira hookeri and Bocaneira glaciana in Appendix 2 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
Floor is open. Any requests? Thank you. The proposal 42 is adopted. Next one, 43. Proposal number 43, Google. Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. With 69 parties voting in favor, 42 against, and 18 abstentions, proposal CoP20 Prop 43 to include Gomifera whitei in Appendix 2 was rejected. Thank you.
Floor is open. Pakistan, please.
Thank you, Chair. Pakistan, with its highest respect to the distinguished chair and esteemed parties, kindly request the reopening of Proposal 43 Concerning Qawmi Fora YTI, as decided in Committee 1, as the primary range state, Pakistan humbly recalls that some of our concerns may not have been fully reflected in the earlier discussion, and we were not able to present the annotation we had intended to propose if the working group had been set up. We shall therefore be grateful if this forum can provide us with an opportunity to reopen this proposal along with an annotation which we believe will help address the enforcement considerations raised by several parties. Thank you.
Thank you, Pakistan. The plenary has before it its recommendation from Committee 1 on Proposal 43. Pakistan has presented a motion to open the debate on this item in the plenary. According to Rule 21, this motion must be seconded by another party. Is there another party who supports this motion? Argentina, please.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Argentina apoya la reapertura de esta discusión.
European Union, please.
Thank you, Chair. The EU, I speak behalf on the EU and its member states first. The EU welcomes the approach of Pakistan to reopen decisions taken by Committee 1 on listing proposal 41. We agree that the concerns of Pakistan as an important range state of Comifora YTE were not sufficiently taken into account in Committee 1, while interventions that were not related to current conservation needs overruled the debate. Further on, it was not possible to discuss an annotation and refine the scope of the listing in a cooperative and meaningful way, which most likely would have made the proposal acceptable to even more parties. We recall that the vote was quite close to a two-thirds majority, even without a discussion on actual conservation needs and an annotation. We fully support the reopening of listing proposal 43 and encourage all parties to do the same in the best interest of the species and the range state that is currently the most affected by international trade in it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Palau, please.
Thank you, Chair. We align ourselves with our colleague from Pakistan and request to reopen the document. Thank you.
India, please.
Thank you, Chair. India wishes to note its objection for reopening of the proposal with regard to listing of Comifera YT in Appendix 2 of CITES in the present form. Chair, the proposal had already been discussed and deliberated in detail in Committee 1 and got rejected. The proposal 43 refers to the population assessment, which predominantly based on the secondary data analyzed, not reflect the subpopulation level estimates. The population not reflect the present and actual population status across the region, especially India and Oman. Hence, India does not support Proposal 43 in the present form and calls for a comprehensive population assessment on status of Comifera YT by the range countries based on the robust research studies before consideration of listing in the appendix of CITES. It may be noted that out of 3 range countries, 2 range countries, India and Oman, are opposing to this proposal. Thus, it's not justified to thrust the proposal to a majority of range countries. Hence, India strongly opposed the reopening of Proposal 43 to list Comifera YT. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, India. Are there any parties? So, are there any parties who wish to speak against the motion? Oman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are opposing the reopening of this proposal. and we align ourselves with the opinion of India. Thank you.
United Arab Emirates.
Thank you, Chair. The UAE supports the statement made by India and Oman and oppose opening this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. So, dear colleagues, we have more 2 against and 2 for opening for debate. So, I'm going to put the motion to reopen the debate to a vote. The motion will now be put to a vote without further interventions. A yes vote means the debate on proposal 43 will be reopened and further substantive discussion will take place. Yes vote means the debate on proposal 43 will be reopened and further substantive discussion will take place. A no vote means the issue will not be reopened for debate and the committee's recommendation will stand and be adopted by the conference without further consideration. A no vote means the issue will not be reopened for debate and the committee's recommendation will stand and be adopted by the conference without further consideration. The motion to open the debate shall be accepted if supported by 1/3 of the representatives present and voting. Is process clear? I will now start the voting procedure. This is a vote for reopening proposal number 43. The voting type is by normal vote. The vote of the European Union will be cast by the individual member states. Since this is a motion to reopen the debate in plenary, the decision will be adopted by 1/3 of representatives present and voting. Technicians, are you ready? Parties, you have 40 seconds to cast your vote. The ballot now is open. Four seconds are up. The ballot is now closed. Technicians, please show the result on the main screen. Please show the individual votes of the parties on the screen now. So, the motion to open the debate on proposal number 43 has been carried. I will invite Pakistan to take the floor and open the discussion on the proposal, and then open the floor for further interventions. Please.
Thank you, Chair. Pakistan truly appreciates the Chair and the parties for agreeing to reopen Proposal 43. As a range state, we are deeply concerned over the alarming level of harvest to meet massive international demand, which is leading to the local extirpation of Commiphora whitei in our country. We also note that this species simply cannot sustain the immense pressure from world wild demand without effective safeguards for its regulation and long-term sustainability. As declared critically endangered by IUCN, the species meets the criteria for Appendix 2 listing. We recall the concerns raised by several parties earlier in Committee 1 regarding the enforcement challenges should the species gets listed. Therefore, with careful consideration and in genuine spirit of compromise, Pakistan is proposing a draft annotation which addresses directly to effective enforcement. This annotation will ensure that CITES regulation applies to the raw forms driving unsustainable harvest, while avoiding unnecessary burdens on everyday finished products. The annotation would be read as extracts including resins, gums, and essential oils. This is within the bracket. Extracts, parenthesis open, including resins, gums, and essential oils, parenthesis close, and powder, comma, except the following finished products: packaged and ready for retail trade, colon, finished tablets, capsules, pills, perfumes, cosmetics, solutions, emulsions, or suspensions, parenthesis open, such as infused oils, hydrolates, tinctures, parenthesis close, and manufactured incense products, parenthesis open, such as incense sticks and incense cones, parenthesis close. Do I need to repeat this?
Please repeat.
Okay. Extracts, parenthesis open, including resins, gums, and essential oils, parenthesis close, and powder, comma, except the following finished products: packaged and ready for retail trade, colon, finished tablets, comma, capsules, comma, pills, comma, perfumes, comma, cosmetics, comma, solutions, comma, emulsions, or suspensions, parenthesis open, such as infused oils, comma, hydrolates, comma, tinctures, parenthesis close, comma, and manufactured incense products, parenthesis open, such as incense sticks and incense cones, parenthesis close.
Thank you, Pakistan.
Yeah.
We now open the floor, please. China, floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. China views conservation as integral to its commitment to sustainable development and is deeply concerned about the status of this species. We reiterate that CITES listing is not the primary solution for species facing threats from habitat loss and domestic use. The economic pressure on local communities caused by trade restriction often leads to further unsustainable resources use, which ultimately restrictions often leads to future frustrates the conservation law goal. Therefore, we believe effective action must be built on community-led management and range state exploring pathways best suited to their local context. China calls for CoP20 to reject the current Appendix 2 listing with the annotation that's just proposed by Pakistan, which is most of the terminology is not settled. So, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, China. European Union.
Thank you, Chair. I speak on behalf of the EU and its member states. The EU recalls that Commiphora whitei is a critically endangered species which already experienced market population declines and local extirpation in some harvest areas in India and Pakistan. This was followed by shifts of harvest regions from India to Pakistan in past decades in order to maintain the supply for the huge and ongoing demand of domestic and international markets in the face of resource collapse in traditional harvest areas. Regulation to control international trade is urgently needed to promote the recovery of the remaining populations and to ensure sustainable use of its resources. The criteria for inclusion in CITES Appendix 2 are clearly met. The species has 3 range states: Pakistan, Oman, and India. We just heard that Pakistan, as the most affected range state from the wild harvest for the international demand, is in full support of the listing of Commiphora whitei in Appendix 2. We also heard in Committee 1 that Oman, being one of the other 2 range states, doesn't even have significant exports and mainly uses the species domestically. And we understand that India has established legislation to restrict harvest of domestic wild populations and to prohibit export of raw resin. However, import of raw resin, as well as export and re-export of processed specimens and finished products, is permitted. Being one of the major import markets for the species, the EU feels a responsibility to make trade in this highly threatened species accountable so that legality and sustainability of the sourcing can be guaranteed. The EU supports the suggested annotation to reduce the scope of the listing. It puts gums, resin, and other extracts under CITES control, which are the commodities that substantively drive the demand and harvest pressure. On the other hand, it excludes commodity groups that are traded in high numbers, but with low content of the species, and which therefore not contribute significantly to the threat of the species. It is thus a good balance between needs to protect the species and the enforceability of the listing. There is no existing annotation that could serve these purposes and which fits to this species and its trade patterns. The EU fully supports the listing proposal amended with the proposed annotation by Pakistan and encourages parties to support Pakistan in our engagement to list the species in Appendix 2. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Monaco.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Monaco remercie le Pakistan et appuie cette proposition avec l'annotation telle que proposée. Merci.
Thank you, Monaco. Floor is open for observers. Floor is open for parties and observers. India, please.
India wishes to note its objection for the proposal regarding listing of Commiphora, even with the annotation proposed by Pakistan, as the matters have already been deliberated in detail in Committee 1. Chair, as stated earlier, the proposal 43 refers to the population assessment carried out way back in 2014, which predominantly based on secondary data analyzed and not reflect the subpopulation. Recent studies have revealed that a significant population is present in the arid and semi-arid zones of India. Hence, the current population status of India is not scientifically represented in the proposal. According to the assessment, it is not reflected the true representation of the region. And even the Oman has categorically has told that population is stable in their country. Hence, the proposal not reflects the present and actual population of Commiphora whitei across the region. Proposing to include Commiphora whitei under Appendix 2 without an updated and scientific robust population assessment is premature. Hence, India not support the proposal with annotation. Even if it is being considered, India is an opinion that it should be referred to a working group for a detailed deliberations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, India. I close the speaker list now. Oman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are, we are opposing the listing of the species in the Appendix 2, and also we are not accepting the amendment made by Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you. Kuwait.
Thank you, Chair. We support the statement made by India, Oman, and China. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuwait. So, the plenary has discussed the proposal to amend Appendix 1 and the proposal 43. It appears that consensus cannot be reached. In accordance with Rule 25, Paragraph 2, I propose that the decision on the proposal 43 as amended be put to a vote. Oman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we are going to proceed for a vote, I request for a secret ballot.
Thank you, Oman. India, please.
We also request for a secret ballot. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The plenary has received a request from the representative for the vote on this matter to be conducted by secret ballot. Under Rule 27.2, any representative may request a secret ballot. Please note that if the request is supported by 10 representatives, the vote shall be by secret ballot. Technicians, please clear the speaker list. Parties, if you support the request for secret ballot, please press your speaker button now. Thank you, it's more than 10. Please keep your button pressed. I'm going to read from now. Oman, Malaysia, Kuwait, Sudan, Cambodia, Russian Federation, Sri Lanka, Congo DRC, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Iceland, Chile, Bahrain, Guinea-Bissau. Thank you. The vote will now be conducted by secret ballot. After the vote, I will announce the number of affirmative votes, the number of negative votes, the number of abstentions, as well as the majority required to adopt the decision. Before we proceed, I would like to clarify. A yes vote means that the proposal number 43, as amended to include Comifora in Appendix 2, is adopted. A no vote means the proposal number 43 is rejected. Under Rule 28, adoption requires a 2/3 majority of representatives present and voting. Before we proceed, I would like to clarify. A yes vote means that proposal number 43, as amended, Comifora in Appendix 2 is adopted. A no vote means that the proposal number 43 is rejected, as amended. Under Rule 28, adoption required a 2/3 majority of representatives present and voting. I would like to invite the Secretariat to repeat.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not going to repeat. I would just offer to recall what the amendment was that was accepted by the proponents of the proposal, the European Union. So the proposal as amended would be to include an annotation that would read extracts, brackets, including resins, gums, and essential oils, close brackets, and powder, except the following finished products packaged and ready for retail trade, finished tablets, capsules, pills, perfumes, cosmetics, solutions, emulsions, or suspensions, brackets, such as infused oils, hydrolates, tinctures, close brackets, and manufactured incense products, brackets, such as incense sticks and incense cones, brackets closed. Thank you, Chair.
I will now start the voting procedure. This is a vote of proposal number 43 as amended. Include Comifora in appendix number 2 with an annotation. The voting type is by secret ballot. The vote of the European Union will be cast by the delegation of the European Union. Since this is a vote on proposal for amendment of appendix, the decision will be adopted by 2/3 majority. Parties, you have 40 seconds to cast your vote. The ballot is now open. The 40 seconds are up. The ballot is now closed. Technicians, please show the result on the main screen. Delegate, the vote has carried. The Conference of the Parties therefore adopts proposal number 43 as amended. Next proposal, 44. Bupleuria sparse. Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20, Prop 44 to transfer Euphorbia bupleurofolia from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
United States of America, floor is yours.
In the interest of transparency on the last vote, the United States abstained.
Thank you. Noted. United Kingdom.
For the interests of transparency, the United Kingdom voted to support the proposal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. European Union.
In the interest of transparency, the EU voted yes.
Thank you so much. Switzerland.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of transparency, Switzerland voted yes.
Thank you. Noted. So we'll start from 44 again. Bupleuria sparse. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20, Prop 44 to transfer Euphorbia bupleurofolia from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
Floor is open. I see no request. So proposal number 44 is adopted. Proposal number 45. Red Ducey. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. With 49 parties voting in favor, 56 against, and 24 abstentions, proposal CoP20 Prop 45 to delete 6 national populations of Afzelia bipindensis from Appendix 2 was rejected. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Congo, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La République du Congo et les co-auteurs ne souhaitent pas réouvrir le débat sur cette proposition. Nous voulons néanmoins préciser clairement que les préoccupations exprimées lors de l'examen de cette proposition, qu'il s'agisse des risques de confusion avec d'autres espèces du genre Afzelia, du manque supposé des données fiables sur la traçabilité ou toute autre difficulté évoquée, ont depuis été résolues de manière documentée et vérifiable. En effet, les analyses taxonomiques actualisées, les données d'inventaire national ainsi que les améliorations enregistrées dans les systèmes de traçabilité démontrent aujourd'hui que ces motifs ne sont plus pertinents. En dépit de ces considérations, la proposition n'a pas été adoptée. Nous en avons pris bonne note et nous vous remercions.
Thank you, Congo. Any other requests? Thank you. Proposal number 45, rejected. Next proposal, 46, Brazilwood. Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. The committee agreed by consensus to retain Brasilia echinata in Appendix 2 with the revision of annotation #10 as contained in document CoP20 COM14. Thank you, Chair.
Floor is open. Thank you, Chair. China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. China respects the consensus reached in the Working Group and Committee 1 on the amendment to annotation #10 for Brasilia echinata. We concur with the goal of facilitating cultural exchange. However, based on our technical analysis, we must raise a crucial concern regarding the operational clarity of the new annotation. The exemption relies on the honest purpose of trade rather than verifiable characteristic of the specimen, which may undermine the capacity to uphold the clear operational standards for effective CITES trade control. This reliance on non-variable information places an unnecessary burden on customs authorities and risks creating a loophole allowing illegal required specimens to enter international circulation. These operational challenges we have identified, coupled with the potential for inconsistent legal interpretations, raise concerns that it may set an undesirable precedent for future annotations concerning readily recognizable parts and derivatives. We respectfully request the plenary officially record our concerns regarding enforcement challenges, operational consistencies, and potential negative precedent. We urge parties to establish clear, workable guidance as soon as possible to ensure that the provision can be implemented effectively and uniformly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, China. Any other requests? So, proposal number 46, adopted as amended. Next one, 47, African Paduk. Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. With 51 parties voting in favor, 57 against, and 20 abstentions, the proposal to delete the populations of Pterocarpus zoyoxi of 7 Central African countries from Appendix 2 was rejected. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Gabon, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Gabon exprime, au nom des États d'Afrique centrale, co-auteur de la proposition 47 relative à Pterocarpus zoyoxi. Nous prenons note avec regret de la décision du comité de ne pas recommander l'adoption de notre proposition de retrait sur les pterocarpus à l'annexe 2. Les résultats du vote serré montrent toutefois que cette question reste sensible et qu'un nombre important de parties est attentif aux enjeux que nous avons exposés, ceux que nous souhaitons remercier et que nous reconnaissons. Nous avons démontré sur la base des données scientifiques et d'éléments vérifiables que les populations concernées ne sont pas menacées par le commerce et sont gérées durablement avec des contrôles effectifs et une traçabilité très fiable. Pour les États d'Afrique centrale, ces efforts de gestion et de légalité ne devraient pas être un handicap dans la mise en œuvre de la CITES, mais au contraire un atout. Le débat en comité 1 a cependant mis en lumière des préoccupations que nous avons entendues, notamment des inquiétudes liées à la ressemblance avec d'autres espèces de ptérocarpus et à la fiabilité de l'identification de bois, en particulier pour les agents de contrôle. Ces préoccupations sont tout à fait légitimes et reflètent un défi concret pour l'application de la Convention. Nous souhaiterions que le compte-rendu de cette conférence des parties retienne clairement deux éléments. D'une part, que les États d'Afrique centrale ont apporté des informations montrant que les populations en question sont intégrées dans des systèmes de gestion et de traçabilité robustes. D'autre part, que les principales difficultés soulevées relèvent désormais de l'identification, de la distinction avec d'autres espèces. Monsieur le Président, le pays d'Afrique centrale reste pleinement engagé dans la mise en œuvre de la CITES. Notre souhait est que la Convention puisse mieux reconnaître les situations où des systèmes de gestion rigoureux permettent de concilier conservation, développement économique et commerce durable. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Gabon. Any other requests? Proposal number 47 is rejected. Congo, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Congo voudrait juste rappeler ici que le secrétariat prenne note des positions des États de l'Afrique centrale pour la proposition 45 et 47. Merci. Et que ça soit enregistré en plénière. Merci.
Thank you, noted. Next one, 48, allows. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. CoP20 Prop 48 to amend annotation #4 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Any requests? I see no requests. So, proposal number 48 is adopted. 49, Parlatores Podocarp. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal COP Prop 49 to transfer Podocarpus parlatore from Appendix 1 to Appendix 2 with the proposed amendment by Argentina to include the annotation zero export quota for wild-taken specimens for commercial purposes was rejected after a vote with 69 in favor, 38 against, and 18 abstentions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Argentina, please.
Gracias, presidente. Solicitamos respetuosamente la reapertura de la discusión sobre la propuesta 49. Pedimos disculpas a las partes por volver sobre este punto, pero consideramos que varias delegaciones no tuvieron la oportunidad de escuchar toda la información técnica que fundamenta la transferencia de Podocarpus parlatorei del apéndice 1 al apéndice 2 con un cupo cero de exportación. Gracias.
The plenary as amended The plenary has before it a recommendation from Committee 1 on Proposal 49 as amended. Argentina has presented a motion to open the debate on this item in the plenary. According to Rule 21, this motion must be seconded by another party. Is there another party who supports this motion? Brazil, please.
We support the motion.
México. Thank you, Brazil.
Gracias, señor presidente. También apoyamos la moción de que se reabra el debate.
Thank you. Bolivia.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Como área de distribución de la especie, apoyamos a la moción. Muchas gracias.
Are there any parties who wish to speak against the motion? There are no parties. The motion is carried by consensus. And now I'll give the floor to Argentina.
Gracias, presidente. Queremos recordar que la especie está en el apéndice 1 desde 1975 y que nunca se ha registrado comercio internacional, incluso antes de la entrada en CITES de esta especie. Nunca existió, por otro lado, demanda internacional de productos de esta especie. De acuerdo con la resolución 9.24, Podocarpus parlatorei no cumple los criterios de permanecer en el apéndice 1 y en el marco del examen periódico, en la propuesta se presentó información actualizada que confirma un estado de conservación favorable, ausencia de amenazas relevantes y un marco legal sólido para su gestión. Podocarpus parlatorei es una especie colonizadora en las primeras etapas de la sucesión secundaria, luego de disturbios antrópicos tales como agricultura migratoria y episodios de fuego. Los países del área de distribución fueron consultados. Perú aclaró que la especie no está presente en su territorio y Bolivia recomendó apoyar la propuesta con la adopción de un cupo cero precautorio, posición que Argentina apoya para toda el área de distribución. Por lo tanto, nuestra propuesta consiste en transferir al apéndice 2 con un cupo cero, manteniendo un nivel de protección y transparencia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Argentina. Brazil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Brazil fully supports this proposal since both range states are in agreement with the proposal. We see no reason why this conference of parties should reject that proposal. It's for the range states to define the future of their own species. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honduras.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Honduras apoya la posición de Argentina. Gracias.
Thank you, Honduras. Sénégal.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Sénégal appuie pour le principe que quand nous inscrivons les espèces dans les annexes 1 et que des plans de gestion ont donné des résultats satisfaisants, nous pouvons, oui, accepter de redescendre l'inscription à l'annexe 2 pour qu'un usage durable et traçable soit mené. Le Sénégal soutient par le principe. Merci.
Thank you. Salvador.
Gracias, señor presidente. El Salvador apoya la propuesta de Argentina.
Thank you. Chile.
Gracias, señor presidente. Chile también apoya a la propuesta de Argentina.
Thank you. Bolivia.
Gracias, señor presidente. También Bolivia apoya la propuesta de Argentina con la asignación de cupo cero. Gracias.
Thank you. Colombia.
Gracias, presidente. Colombia apoya la propuesta presentada por Argentina. Gracias.
Ecuador. Thank you. Colombia.
Gracias, señor presidente. Ecuador apoya la propuesta presentada por Argentina.
Thank you. Suriname.
Thank you, Chair. Suriname supports the proposal of Argentina. Thank you.
Thank you. Benin.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Bénin appuie également cette proposition amendée par l'Argentine. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Benin. Mexico.
Gracias, señor presidente. México apoya la propuesta.
Thank you. Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Chair. Zimbabwe supports Argentina's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Panama.
Gracias, señor presidente. Panamá apoya la moción de Argentina.
Thank you. Uruguay.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Uruguay apoya la propuesta de Argentina.
Thank you. I close the speaker list now. Dominican Republic.
Gracias, señor presidente. República Dominicana apoya la propuesta de Argentina.
Thank you. Nigeria.
Thank you, Chair. Nigeria supports Argentina's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. United Kingdom.
Thank you, Chair. The UK supports the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. So far I have heard only parties supporting the proposal of Argentina, proposal number 49 with amendment for zero export quota. For wild taken, species for commercial purpose in Appendix 2. Is there any opposition to adopt this amended proposal? So, no request. Proposal 49 as amended is adopted. Next one, 50. Dwarf succulent. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20, Prop 50 to transfer Avonia carinaria from Appendix 2 to Appendix 1 was accepted by consensus.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Any requests? I see no requests. So proposal number 50 is adopted. Proposal number 51, Cape Aloe and Candelilla. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Proposal CoP20, Prop 51 to amend annotation #4 was accepted by consensus. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Floor is open. Any requests? No requests. So proposal number 51 is adopted. Thanks to God. And these conclude agenda items number 114. Thank you. The next agenda item is item 0.52, report of the Credential Committee. I invite the chair of the Credential Committee to provide the report. Sénégal, you have a floor.
Yes, Président. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Mesdames, Messieurs, chers délégués, le comité de vérification des pleins pouvoirs a été mis en place le 24 novembre lors de la séance d'ouverture des travaux de la COP20. Le comité a travaillé d'arrache-pied dans l'analyse des pouvoirs qui sont transférés et la validation. En termes de partis accrédités à ce jour, nous avons enregistré 165 partis, dont 157 ont eu des accréditations validées. Autrement dit, qu'il y a 20 partis qui n'ont pas pris part à cette conférence des partis. Je tiens à dire aussi que, vu les statistiques, cette conférence des partis a connu le record de participation des partis. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Chair. The Conference of Parties notes the report of the Credential Committee. Thank you, and I close this agenda items. So, conclusion of the meeting. Agenda items 115, determination of the time and venue of the next regular meeting of the Conference of the Parties. This brings us to the conclusion of the meeting. First is agenda items is determination of the time and venue of the next regular meeting of the Conference of the Parties. I invite the Secretariat to provide with the information regarding the 21st meeting of the Conference of the Parties. Please.
Gracias, señor presidente. Deseo informar a la Conferencia de las Partes que la Secretaría ha recibido una carta con fecha del 14 de octubre de 2024 del Ministerio de Medio Ambiente de Panamá, en la que se expresa el interés de Panamá en acoger la 21ª reunión de la Conferencia de las Partes de las CITES en 2028. En este respecto, Su Excelencia, el señor Oscar Vallarino, viceministro del Ministerio de Medio Ambiente de Panamá, está presente en esta reunión para confirmar oficialmente esta oferta. Ruego al presidente que conceda la palabra al viceministro Vallarino. Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you. I open the floor to Panama to make the interventions. Panama, you have the floor.
Permítame comenzar expresando nuestro más profundo agradecimiento al país anfitrión, Uzbekistán, por su cálida hospitalidad y por el esfuerzo excepcional en la organización de esta 20ª reunión de la Conferencia de las Partes de CITES. Samarcanda nos recibe con su historia y su espíritu de cooperación, creando el marco perfecto para nuestros trabajos. Muchas gracias, señor presidente, por todas sus atenciones y por hacer de esta conferencia un rotundo éxito. Asimismo, queremos reconocer el valioso apoyo de la Secretaría General y de los comités de trabajo cuya dedicación y profesionalismo han sido fundamentales para garantizar que esta reunión se haya desarrollado con transparencia, eficiencia y en un ambiente de colaboración entre todos nuestros países. Agradecemos también a todas las partes que apoyaron las resoluciones adoptadas en Panamá y en las regiones de América del Sur, Central y del Caribe, demostrando su compromiso con la conservación de la biodiversidad y el fortalecimiento de esta convención. Ese respaldo nos anima a seguir trabajando juntos por objetivos comunes. Distinguidos países miembros, señor presidente y honorables comisionados, en nombre del Gobierno de la República de Panamá, queremos reiterarles nuestra propuesta de ser la sede de la próxima Conferencia de las Partes COP21. Agradecemos por adelantado la confianza depositada en nuestro país como anfitrión de la próxima conferencia en el 2028. Este honor refleja no solo la estima hacia Panamá, sino también nuestro firme compromiso con la conservación de la vida silvestre a nivel global. Estamos plenamente convencidos de que Panamá ofrece condiciones óptimas para la realización de trascendental encuentro. Nuestra privilegiada ubicación geográfica como ruta del mundo, que no solo une continentes y océanos, sino que también nos convierte en un punto de conferencia natural para la cooperación internacional y para compartir con todos los países nuestra excepcional riqueza biológica, diversidad cultural, gastronómica, así como la conectividad aérea robusta y una infraestructura moderna capaz de acoger un evento de esta magnitud. Sabemos asumir la sede de la 21ª Conferencia de las Partes representa un reto importante. Sin embargo, Panamá afronta este desafío con entusiasmo, responsabilidad y plena disposición. Nuestro país está preparado para ofrecer un ambiente propicio para el diálogo constructivo, el intercambio de conocimientos y la búsqueda conjunta de soluciones que fortalezcan el comercio sostenible y la protección de nuestras especies. Finalmente, señor presidente, deseamos reiterarles que brindaremos lo mejor de nuestra tierra, todo nuestro cariño y atención personal a cada uno de ustedes. Cada participante encontrará en Panamá un espacio seguro, acogedor y vibrante, donde la naturaleza y la cultura se unen para inspirar acuerdos y decisiones trascendentales en la conservación mundial. Estamos convencidos de que este encuentro será oportunidad única para potenciar las alianzas y avanzar en la misión que compartimos. A todos ustedes les extendemos una cálida invitación. Los esperamos en Panamá, puente biodiverso del mundo y corazón del universo. Será un honor recibirlos y caminar juntos hacia el futuro donde la vida silvestre continúe siendo patrimonio global para el beneficio de todos. Muchísimas gracias, señor presidente.
Panama, please show the video.
Panama is a meeting point of jungles, mountains, and seas, where life flourishes in every corner, from the dense rainforest of Darien to the vibrant reefs of Coiba. Our national parks protect landscapes that connect ecosystems, cultures, and life itself. Despite its small size, Panama is home to more than 10,000 plant species. Our fauna includes around 260 mammals, over 1,000 bird species, more than 250 reptiles and amphibians, and thousands of invertebrates. In our national parks, forests shelter jaguars, howler monkeys, and vibrant tropical birds. Along the coasts, corals, sea turtles, dolphins, and whales keep marine life thriving. A great part of Panama's extraordinary biodiversity is concentrated within our national parks. Panama, a living bridge of biodiversity.
Thank you. Thank you. The Conference of the Parties accepts the offer made by Panama to host the 21st meeting of the CITES Conference of the Parties. I thank Panama for the generous offer. Agenda items 116, closing remarks. We now have the last agenda items, closing remarks. I invite the remarks in the following order: observer organizations, intergovernmental organizations, followed by non-parties, and then finally the parties, followed by CITES Secretary General, then the chair of the COP. In the interest of the time, I remind you to please keep your remarks to under 2 minutes, so that we can hear from as many of you as possible. I now open the floor to the observer organization. CCN, please.
Thank you, Chair. SSN wishes to express its gratitude to the government of Uzbekistan, our hosts, for their warm hospitality, to the chairs of the committees, to the Secretariat, to the parties, and the representatives of civil society for their hospitality, cordiality, and hard work throughout the COP. This has, upon reflection, been a challenging but rewarding conference of the parties. While it's regrettable that some highly deserving species did not receive the additional protection from the impact of international trade that they needed, many did. For that, we should congratulate the parties on their wisdom. But at this COP, there have been other issues that have demanded our attention. Chair, I have been a CITES observer for 36 years, more than half my lifetime, and its future has, in my opinion, never been more precarious. The convention is all we have collectively to combat the worst excesses of international wildlife trade. If we lose CITES, the natural world loses big time. Something has to change. Many believe CITES needs reform. There is talk of an independent review which could consider the need for a new, secure and substantial funding model, the potential need for a new contract with UNEP, a new mandate from the parties. And CITES needs to re-envision how it operates without fear or favor in the best interests of the wild species and of fauna and flora it is meant to serve, the ecosystems they inhabit, the communities that share that landscape. Those species rely on us, the dominant life form on our planet, the species that exploits, trades, sells, and mistreats them, also to be their guardians, their saviors, because if we don't, no one else will. In conclusion, Chair, a lot has been achieved at this COP, but the work of this convention never stops, and there is always room for improvement. The future is uncertain, and we need to think differently to ensure that the incredible investment in CITES that has been made by so many parties and so many people over the last 50 years is not jeopardized or, worse still, lost. Once more, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2028 on our return visit to the beautiful country of Panama in the hope and expectation that our convention survives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I close the list for the observers' requests for the floor. So, please, WCS.
Thank you, Chair. WCS congratulates Uzbekistan for its tremendous efforts in hospitality in hosting this meeting, to the Secretariat staff for a well-organized and successful COP and all their work behind the scenes, and for the work of the chairs of committees, and thank you to the translators for such a wonderful job. We congratulate you, the parties, for a successful COP. We're pleased with some decisions, and of course, a bit disappointed in others. WCS is a science-based organization with field programs to protect and conserve wildlife and wild places around the globe and in many of your countries. Our recommendations were all based on science, and thank you for those decisions that embrace the precautionary principle. We appreciate your decisions on sharks, rays, okapi, mangabe, striped hyena, Galapagos iguanas, hornbills, vultures, and other species. We appreciate the landmark decision on sharks and rays, noting, however, we cannot fully celebrate when a species declines to the point of Appendix 1 qualification due to overexploitation. We note positively that many shark proposals were adopted by consensus, showing your recognition that marine species are an important part of the Convention's work. It's been a long journey indeed to get there. Thank you for adopting strong decisions on implementation and compliance, too numerous to list, including increased focus on trade in endemic species, particularly for the pet trade. Many of the proposals and decisions reflect ongoing overexploitation and unsustainable trade, escalating illegal trade, and complex interactions with threats such as climate change and habitat loss. You have taken many good conservation decisions. Now is the time to implement them. In conclusion, the first paragraph of the CITES preamble states, recognizing that wild fauna and flora in their many beautiful and varied forms are an irreplaceable part of the natural systems of the earth, which must be protected for this and generations to come. Let us all truly embrace this spirit. Let us work to see the day that international wildlife trade no longer threatens species in the wild. Nos vemos en Panama. Thank you.
Thank you. WWF.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, it behoves us to extend our warmest thanks to the government of Uzbekistan for its hospitality in hosting this meeting in the historic city of Samarkand. We thank you, Chair, the committee chairs, the Secretariat, the interpreters, the technicians, and all the hard-working local staff who contributed to making this meeting such a logistical success. From our point of view, the substantive outcomes are a mixed success. We will not, however, dwell on the disappointments here. Rather, we will commend the meeting for the listings it did adopt, especially those in respect of sharks and rays, endemic reptiles, and southern African succulents. We would draw particular attention to the listing of Sporophylla species and express the earnest wish that we may see many more songbird listings adopted at CoP21. With regard to the agenda documents, there are many outcomes we can welcome, including those relating to Asian big cats and jaguars. When it comes to elephant-related matters, we are staunch defenders of the rigor and integrity of the Elephant Trade Information System, and we are pleased that, for the most part, the outcomes reflect this position. We also welcome the renewal of the decisions to develop a gender action plan for the Convention. We repeat our comments in Committee 2 to the effect that this is not a politically correct box-ticking exercise, nor is it an ideological statement. It is about delivering better implementation of the Convention. To that end, we hope that the ideological issues can be resolved and that CoP21 can adopt a plan by consensus. We have been deeply sympathetic to the Secretariat's concerns about its increasing workload against a background of budget cuts. Unfortunately, the trade-related threats both to CITES-listed species and to species that might qualify for listing are increasing, and so it is inevitable that the workload of the Convention will also increase. We welcome the increase in the core budget, but we recognize that it is not sufficient to cover the costs of this increased workload. For our part, we contributed a considerable sum to the achievement of COP-mandated reports that came before this COP, and we encourage others to step up as well whenever possible. Finally, on a personal note, I did say at the last COP that that was my last one. This time it definitely is my last one for WWF. After that, it's in the hands of the gods, or the devils, depending on who you think. In any case, I wish you all safe journey home, and I can commend Panama as the next host country, having done such a great job before, and I hope you all have a successful COP there, whether I am there or not. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. IWMC.
Thank you, Chair. I have been associated with CITES a little over the age of CITES itself, I would say 54 years, in the various capacity, as government official, as 9 years Secretary General of the Convention, and since then as head of IWMC. And I've always had as a mission to include human beings in the conservation initiatives, to make sure that human beings were the only one to play their role, well, not the only one to play their role in this research for solution to conservation of wild species. And I must admit that I failed. Because the rejection of key proposals, key documents to give more importance of livelihood, food security, and human rights have not been successful in this meeting. We heard a lot about the necessity to get more species concerned, more species listed. Of course it's good, but this will not be achieved. This will not achieve anything without the involvement of the people sharing their life on a daily basis with the animals and plants that they have on their land. And this is something that we have to take into serious consideration if we want to achieve our conservation objective. And we have several examples of what it can be done by involving people. The success story of CITES are just about that. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I certainly like to say, note, according to what we just heard from the observer from WWF, I am pretty much in the same situation that he is. I don't know if I will be there at the next COP. He had the delicatesse of saying, depending God or evil. In my case, it definitely be evil. And I'm sure that if I'm allowed to do so, I will be part of this excellent meeting that we can expect in Panama. Closing remarks, I'd like to say thank you to Uzbekistan, to all of those who have been involved in the organization, preparation, and conduct of this meeting. And a final note, I note with great pleasure the emergence of new generation of pro-sustainable use organizations such as SUCO, Southern Africa, and I hope that they will be able to expand their network in a very near future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. SUCO SA, please.
Thank you, Chair. The Sustainable Use Coalition Southern Africa extends sincere gratitude to the leadership and people of Uzbekistan for an exceptionally well-managed conference delivered with impressive hospitality and professionalism. Our positive experience, including visits to historic sites and markets, ensures attendees will leave as enthusiastic ambassadors for your remarkable land. Naturally, we thank the Secretariat, translators, and staff of the conference as well. Chair, we leave this COP with mixed feelings. Some decisions reflected scientific reasoning and people-centered conservation. However, these were exceptions. More often, decisions ran contrary to the advice of both the CITES Secretariat and the FAO Expert Advisory Panel, whose role is to ground decisions in robust data. Even more troubling were decisions that directly opposed the positions of range states demonstrating the greatest conservation success. These decisions will cause immediate measurable harm to local communities and indigenous peoples who rely on sustainable use for livelihoods, managing conflict, and safeguarding habitats. Despite requests for restraint, exuberant applause for uplistings showed some parties and observers view these as victories. This reflects a fundamental misunderstanding. Every uplisting is not a triumph but a setback, a recognition that conservation has failed and range state management options are further constrained. The Convention's goal should be a world where species require no special protection, ecosystems thrive, and the communities prosper through sustainable use. Yet here at COP20, successful range states were penalized while states with no wildlife dictated outcomes. This defies fairness, sovereignty, and logic. After 50 years, the Convention's logo, still featuring only one species, highlights that all animals or plants are treated unequally in practice. Chair, we remain committed to a convention that respects science, recognizes success, and truly supports the people and countries conserving global biodiversity. May every delegate travel safely home with our best wishes until we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I now open the floor for the intergovernmental organizations, please. And I will remind you to keep to time. 2 minutes, please. Thank you. Nobody? I now open the floor to non-parties. No requests? I now open the floor to the parties. I now close the list. Bahamas, please. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. The Bahamas wishes to express its appreciation for the constructive and respectful discussions that took place throughout CoP20, an environment made possible by the skill and professionalism of the chairs, the Secretariat, and the government of Uzbekistan. We have engaged in thoughtful discussions spanning an extraordinary range of animals, plants, and even fungi, including, of course, the iconic elephant. But as we reflect on our work here, we must also acknowledge the elephant in the room, that is climate change. While our mandate is to examine the impacts of international trade, an essential and very real driver of risk, we cannot overlook the fact that human-induced climate change has the potential to undermine decades of progress under CITES. It threatens the very species we have debated here and the livelihoods of communities whose concerns have been raised time and again in this forum. As parties, let us not compartmentalize our responsibilities. When we return home, the expertise, insight, and shared purpose demonstrated here should continue to guide our interactions with colleagues in our respective governments. As we meet again in other international fora, let us carry forward the same commitment to cooperation and science-based decision-making that shaped this COP. The Bahamas congratulates all parties, observers, the Secretariat, the chairs, for a successful meeting. Much has been achieved, but there is still so much more to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Bahamas. So I now give the floor to the chair, the African Group of Negotiations, Zimbabwe, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. It is an honor to address this distinguished gathering on behalf of the African Group of Negotiators for the Africa region. Allow me to extend my sincere gratitude and congratulations to the government of the Republic of Uzbekistan for successfully hosting CITES CoP20 and for the amazing hospitality during our stay here in Samarkand. I would also like to thank the CITES Secretariat for the excellent organization of the conference. To all the security personnel, interpreters, many volunteers, especially young people that saved us here with diligence. Thank you very much. Chair, we go back home to Africa, convinced that we made decisions that will enhance conservation of endangered species of world flora and fauna through strengthening systems established for effective regulation of international trade, after going through a very rigorous and demanding agenda. we felt it was still all worth the effort. Chair, it's important that we constantly remind ourselves of the founding values and principles and establishment reasons of this convention as we make decisions. Trade must remain legal, traceable, and sustainable based on scientific, sound science, evidence. That is important as we continue to be guided by such advice and recommendations from the parties responsible for implementation of this decision and conservation of and also implementation of the respective decisions is adopted. Collaboration should not only be at meetings, but in learning from each other and strengthening national systems. This is one important area which seems to be slipping through our fingers. In Africa, we value the role of wildlife, the role that it plays in socio-economic development of our countries, and also Africa's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. It's very important to strike a balance between conservation and development. It's also equally important that we remind ourselves as parties that we do have ultimate responsibility in investing and channeling resources towards wildlife conservation and protection. Failure to do this will be a compromise to all the efforts to combat illegal wildlife trade and trafficking. We remain concerned through the high poaching levels reported in some parts of the world and the absence of robust institutional and illegal wildlife trade. Chair, we wish to get to a level where one day we gather here to discuss mostly downlisting proposal due to successful threat abatement and implementation of decisions that we would have adopted. Africa needs your continued support on this mission and requests you to support our institutional reconfiguration and the role of the African Group of Negotiators as established by our ministers responsible for environment. Africa commits to improve ourselves on compliance level. As the holiday season is upon us, Chair, you are all welcome to visit Africa, and we wish everyone a safe journey back home. Thank you.
United States of America, please.
On behalf of the U.S. delegation, I would like to thank the government of Uzbekistan for hosting the CoP20 and for their warm welcome and hospitality over the past 2 weeks. I'd also like to thank the CITES Secretariat, the chairs and vice chairs of Committee 1, Committee 2, and everyone who supported the functioning of the well-managed meeting. We also thank the parties for the constructive dialogue and collaboration on the important matters and willingness to find consensus when possible. The United States is committed to the goals of CITES. The international wildlife trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry involving hundreds of millions of live plants and animals, as well as their products. This trade is vital to the American people and to our economy. The CITES framework helps conserve native plants and animals and allows the American people to benefit from natural resources legally and traceably without having a negative impact on species in the wild. It protects species at the source and along the supply chain, helping prevent illegal trade from reaching our borders, where it impacts national security and undercuts U.S. businesses. It provides a framework that requires we all play by the same rules for the benefit of our citizens and the wildlife we conserve. On behalf of the U.S. delegation, we look forward to continuing to work with U.S. businesses, other stakeholders, and our trading partners to ensure there are no undue burdens imposed by the convention and to effectively implement the decisions made here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Nigeria extends its sincere appreciation to the government and people of Uzbekistan for the warm hospitality and for hosting a truly productive CITES CoP20. We commend the Secretariat and the committees for their tireless work throughout this conference. Over the past days, we have collectively reaffirmed that protecting the world's wildlife is not only a conservation imperative, but a shared global responsibility. Nigeria remains firmly committed to the objectives of CITES. We will continue strengthening national legislation, enhancing enforcement capacity, and improving our traceability and monitoring system to combat illegal trafficking of species, particularly pangolin, elephant ivory, vultures, and other threatened species within our range. As we return home, Nigeria calls on all parties to maintain this momentum. Let us continue investing in science, technology, and cross-border collaboration. Illegal wildlife trade is transnational. Our response must be equally united and resolute. In closing, Nigeria reiterates its gratitude to Beskitan for outstanding organization and cultural warmth. We look forward to working closely with all parties to translate the outcomes of COP20 into meaningful progress on the ground. And also, we want to congratulate the wonderful people of Panama who will be hosting us in their beautiful country in the next COP. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Argentina.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Quisiéramos iniciar esta declaración expresando nuestro profundo agradecimiento por la gran hospitalidad brindada por Uzbekistán, su comunidad, los voluntarios, así como por la Secretaría y su equipo por el excelente trabajo realizado. Agradecemos también la destacada labor de los intérpretes y pedimos disculpas por la rapidez de algunas de nuestras intervenciones. La región reafirma su compromiso con la Convención y hacia las especies para que su uso sea sostenible, legal, trazable en el comercio internacional. Se inicia un nuevo periodo entre sesiones que trae consigo una renovación y continuidad de tareas. En este sentido, señor presidente, queríamos hacer una especial invitación a los países a involucrar más profundamente no solo a las autoridades administrativas y científicas, sino también y muy especialmente a sus autoridades de observancia. Señor presidente, son las autoridades de observancia quienes se encuentran en la primera línea, quienes llevan la difícil tarea de distinguir una especie de otra y en muchas ocasiones deben enfrentarse directamente a personas, actividades ilegales en las fronteras para proteger los recursos naturales. Invitamos respetuosamente a la Convención, a los comités y a las partes a integrarlas aún más, a capacitarlas y a incluirlas de manera más activa, tanto en estas reuniones como en las actividades realizadas en su territorio. Su experiencia y perspectiva son y seguirán siendo fundamentales para seguir fortaleciendo la Convención y las políticas asociadas al comercio. Asimismo, queremos expresar nuestro optimismo de cara a la próxima reunión que tendrá lugar en Panamá. Estamos convencidos de que será una instancia propicia para consolidar los avances logrados, renovar nuestro espíritu de cooperación y continuar trabajando juntos por la conservación de las especies. Agradecemos de antemano a Panamá por su disposición y compromiso para recibirnos. Deseamos que el trabajo que se avecina en el próximo periodo resulte provechoso. Y finalmente felicitamos a los nuevos y actuales miembros de los distintos comités y les deseamos el mayor éxito en las tareas. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Senegal.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je prends la parole au nom du Sénégal pour remercier le pays hôte, l'Ouzbékistan et son peuple, qui, par son esprit d'ouverture, fait de lui aujourd'hui un pays de plusieurs rencontres mondiales de nos jours. Monsieur le Président, je voudrais remercier le président de nos travaux, le président du comité 1, 2 et le comité de vérification des accréditations. Nous avons travaillé durement du 24 au 5-12 pour adopter des propositions d'inscription d'espèces aux annexes 3, 2 et 1 de la CITES et des décisions. Plusieurs espèces sont inscrites, mais je tiens à préciser que si l'inscription d'une espèce à une annexe est une chose, la mise en œuvre en est une autre. J'invite les parties et les partenaires à entreprendre le plus tôt que possible des ACNP pour une meilleure mise en œuvre des inscriptions. Quant au Panama, je veux bien dire ici muchas gracias et hasta pronto. Merci.
Thank you. Bahrain.
Thank you, Chair. The Kingdom of Bahrain extends its sincere appreciation to the government of Uzbekistan for the warm hospitality and excellent organization of this 20th meetings of the Conference of Parties to CITES in the historic city of Samarkand. And also would like to thank the CITES Secretariat, the chairs of the committees, the interpreters, and everyone working there behind for their efforts in this COP. Over the past days, parties and observers have demonstrated a strong collective commitment to ensuring that international trade in wild fauna and flora is legal, sustainable, and traceable, in line with the objectives of the conventions and its 50 years journey. Bahrain reaffirms its dedication to strengthening national implementation, enhancing cooperation with the CITES secretaries and parties, and supporting capacity building and innovative tools to combat illegal wildlife trade. In closing, Bahrain looks forward to working closely with all partners to translate the decisions adopted in Samarkand into concrete actions that safeguards biodiversity for present and future generations, and wish all delegates a safe journey. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. South Africa.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. As this 20th Conference of the Parties draws to a close in the historic city of Samarkand, South Africa extends our heartfelt gratitude to the government and people of Uzbekistan for their warm and generous hospitality. South Africa is one of the world's 17 mega-diverse nations, a source of immense national pride that carries an equally immense responsibility. That responsibility is constitutionally enshrined in Section 24 of our Bill of Rights, which obliges us to secure the environment for present and future generations through ecologically sustainable development and reasonable legislative measures. We do not carry this duty alone. We remain deeply grateful to our vibrant NGOs and civil society organizations, our SADC and African sister states, and parties from every continent who continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. Yet the threats are unrelenting. Poaching and illegal wildlife trafficking remain a sophisticated transnational organized crime. Just 2 weeks ago at the G20 summit we hosted in Cape Town, leaders unanimously recognized the scourge and called for intensified collective action. We do so here with all CITES parties, particularly the destination market states. We welcome the inspiring knowledge sharing on innovative anti-trafficking technologies and celebrated flagship collaborations such as the South Africa-India cheetah reintroduction project, living proof that international partnership can restore hope for endangered species. South Africa has been a proud party to CITES since its inception in 1975. Today we return home immensely proud that 3 of our 4 proposals received unanimous adoption, and we are heartened by the global recognition of our science-based, responsible and inclusive approach to conservation and sustainable use. This has been a highly successful COP for South Africa, and we are pleased that South African-born people, Ms. Thea Carroll Mr. Ben van Rensburg and Dr. Renald Klopper are part of your administration. Thank you to you, Chair, your co-chairs, our technicians, cleaners, caterers, transport teams, and all who looked after us. We look forward to Panama. We say Siyabonga, Bayadanki, Rahmat. Inshallah, we wish you all safe, joyful, and restorative festive season. Rahmat.
Thank you. China.
Chairs, distinguished delegates, China delegation extends sincere gratitude to Uzbekistan for its warm hospitality, and we also wish to commend the Secretariat and all parties for the hard work and efforts. Congratulations to Panama on hosting the next COP. The COP marks a new starting point for CITES work, adopting many important resolutions and that demonstrates the international community's firm determination to protect wild fauna and flora. China highly appreciates these outcomes. China has consistently taken resolute actions to support CITES mission and has strictly fulfilled all our obligations. Guided by the concept, lucid water and lush mountains are invaluable assets. China stands ready to work with all parties to implement the CITES Convention. We will continue to combat wildlife crime and help developing countries strengthen their capacity to implement the Convention. At the same time, I wish to clarify China's position on some important questions. Some documents previously contained irregular wording and map errors, failing to use our official designations, Taiwan Province of China, and Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of China. I would like to stress that there is but one China in the world, and the one China principle is universally recognized basic norm governing international relations. We applaud and appreciate that the majority of parties and organizations have understood China's concerns and have made corrections. And we kindly request you to properly handle related questions in the future. Chairs, distinguished
Please
delegates,
keep to two
China's
minutes.
commitment to wildlife conservation remains unwavering. Our commitment to fulfilling our CITES obligations remains unwavering, and our commitment to building an ecological civilizations remains unwavering. Let us join hands to translate the fruitful outcomes of this conference into concrete actions and work together to create a future where humanity and nature coexist in harmony. Thank you all.
Thank you. Brazil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Brazil is speaking on behalf of BRICS countries. Most of BRIC countries are mega biodiverse, and we harbor most of the biodiversity and almost 43% of the forests of the world. Recognizing that wild fauna and flora in their varied forms and are an irreplaceable part of the natural systems of the earth, which must be protected for these and the generations to come, and that international cooperation is essential for protection of certain species of wild fauna and flora against overexploitation through international trade. We underscore the urgent need to foster international cooperation for nature conservation and restoration, including through securing reliable and predictable long-term funding, enhancing capacity building efforts and technical support, taking into account the specific challenges and needs of developing countries. We affirm that the BRICS group will always stand ready to contribute to positive outcomes in multilateral environmental negotiations. And we'd like to thank the people and the government of Uzbekistan for warmly hosting us in this historic Samarkand city, which has been on the international trade crossroads for thousands of years. Mr. President, you and your colleagues made our stay here memorable, effective, and productive. Hachmach.
Thank you so much. Fiji.
Chair, distinguished delegates and colleagues, on behalf of the delegation of Fiji, I join others in extending our sincere gratitude to the government of Uzbekistan and the people of Samarkand for their warm hospitality. We thank the chairs of Committee 1 and 2 for their steady leadership and the CITES Secretariat for their tireless work. the interpreters for ensuring inclusivity. Most importantly, the NGOs, the youth, and the indigenous representatives who have grounded our deliberations in lived realities. Chair, distinguished delegates, this COP20 has been a landmark for global conservation, especially our endemic species that hold both ecological and cultural significance. Fiji is particularly proud of the strengthened protections adopted for vulnerable shark species. In the Pacific, sharks are our spiritual god. They are guardians of our oceans, woven into our stories and our identity. By securing stricter controls for our shark species, we honor not only science, but also the ancestral teachings that have long guided Pacific stewardship. Excellencies, Fiji reaffirms its commitments to multilateralism and science-based conservation. As a Pacific island nation confronting climate change, we understand that healthy oceans and forests are bound to our survival, our economies, and our cultural soul. We will take these decisions made here home to protect our species, strengthen ecosystems, and work alongside our communities, guided by science and indigenous knowledge. As we leave Samarkand, I am reminded of a Fijian saying, "Mbimbi nangiu, e ngua matua vake na vaka vaka vata," which when translated means, strength is important, but it is unity that prevails. I must confess, as I speak these words, I have goosebumps, as though I'm hearing my grandparents whisper the same wisdom that shaped my childhood and my purpose. Let us go forward with that unity, courage, and conviction for our oceans, our forests, and our people, and all life on earth. Vinaka Vakalevu, and I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Germany.
Thank you, Chair. Echoing the words of colleagues, Germany also like to thank the Secretariat, Uzbekistan as our generous host, the technicians, interpreters, and the chairs for their committed work during this COP, and we are looking forward to reconvene with all of you in Panama. As member of the Animus Committee, allow me to take a moment to specifically honor someone who has guided us through more than a decade of discussions, disagreements, and the occasional diplomatic storm, including during this COP's COM1, Matthias Lercher. Matthias has been at the heart of the Animals Committee. Matthias has been at the heart of the Animals Committee for so long that many of us can barely imagine CITES without his steady presence. I think we can all agree few people can navigate controversial species issues, competing interests, and last-minute document revisions with such a grace and with his unique poker face, even in those many moments when he already knew exactly what a party or observer was about to say. But behind that legendary calm, we all know the real qualities that have made him such an exceptional chair. Balance, even when the room was not. A genuine commitment to bringing people together, even people who were convinced they could not possibly agree. Creative compromises that someone or somehow made everyone feel heard. And a sense of humor that reminded us, despite the complexity of our work, we are all human and ultimately working towards the same goal, conservation. If we were to conduct a significant chair review, the conclusion would be simple. Best practice identified, strongly recommended for wider adoption. Beyond procedures and mandates, species are better off because of his dedication. So Matthias, on behalf of all of us here, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your dedication to conservation, your humor, your balance, and the humanity you brought into every room.
Thank you so much. Malaysia.
Thank you, Chair. Malaysia would like to congratulate Uzbekistan for hosting this important meeting and for the hospitality. We also would like to thank and congratulate the Chair for the leadership and efficient work, including chairs in both committees. Last but not least, our thanks also goes to the Secretariat for all the hard work and for the COP. We wish everyone a safe journey back home. Thank you, Chair. Kata Rahmat.
Thank you so much. European Union.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and I speak on behalf of the European Union and its member states. Distinguished President, delegates, representatives, ladies and gentlemen, the EU and its member states thank the President together with the chairs of the committees and the chairs of the working groups for managing a broad agenda. We also thank the Secretariat for the preparation, organization, and its support during the Conference of the Parties. A great appreciation goes to Uzbekistan for hosting this successful meeting. Finally, we also want to express our gratitude to all parties and observers for their contribution to the intense discussions that we have had in the last 2 weeks on our common objective to protect the fauna and flora on this planet. The EU and its member states came to this beautiful city of Samarkand 50 years after the entry into the force of this convention, with the conviction that our task is more important than ever, as we are facing unprecedented threats to biodiversity, climate, and ecosystems. We hope that in the past 2 weeks we have been able to demonstrate our commitment to advance on the overarching goal of this convention, ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants do not threaten the survival of the species. During this Conference of the Parties, we have had many important and emotive discussions, from protecting emblematic species to better enforcement of CITES rules. The extremely broad agenda points also to the very important topic, how we manage the workload of the Secretariat and the committees of this convention to ensure the efficiency of our work now and in the future. In this regard, we are delighted that we could agree on an increase of the budget that will allow the Secretariat to continue playing the fundamental role they play in the implementation of the Convention, including capacity building and support activities to those parties that are.
Please follow the 2 minutes time limit.
The European Union and its member states are true believers in multilateral solutions being the path to address the huge environmental challenges ahead of us. I will finish by saying that we stand ready with this family of parties to resolve obstacles in order to achieve our common goal of a more sustainable life on this planet and protecting wild animals and plants everywhere. We thank Panama for offering to host the next COP in 2028 and look forward to continuing this conversation there. Thank you.
Thank you. The United States has requested a right of reply, and I will give them the floor for a short, very short statement, please.
Thank you, Chair, and I appreciate your indulgence to exercise the right of reply. Regarding China's statement regarding the use of certain nomenclature, the United States reminds that each member country has the right to use the language of its choosing in its own proposals. For example, the language contained in document CoP20 Doc 90 is entirely in line with the U.S. One China policy and is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act and the 3 joint communiques and 6 assurances. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenya?
Thank you, Chair. We would like to thank the government of the Republic, the people of the Republic of Uzbekistan for generous hospitality and hosting CoP20 in this historical city of Samarkand at a time to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of the Convention. Samarkand city and Uzbekistan has provided a very conducive environment for transparent engagement of the parties to transact and review the progress in the last 3 years in the implementation of the Convention and agree to decisions to progress the work of the Convention is the next triennium and beyond. Next phase is implementation of these decisions, and we look forward to greater partnership with all the parties to achieve the object for which we have adopted these decisions. We have taken decisions on African species and those that Africa shares with other regions, including the elephants, sharks, cheetah and other big cats, plant species. Kenya is committed to full implementation of these relevant decisions of the COP. With a record number of agenda items in this COP, Mr. Chair, we have concluded the COP in a record time, thanks to the chair of the COP, yourself, and the chairs of the COP committees and the drafting working groups for their excellent leadership, and the Secretariat and the two delegations for such a great COP. This has been with the precision and the efficient support of the Secretariat team. Mr. Chair, we commend the government of the Panama for offering to host the COP again in an alternate period. This again, we believe, is a record made on such generous offer. Mr. Chair, we commend Africa, regional parties, for an excellent coordination of our meetings. Perhaps this has made it possible to have the COP concluding in a record time. We acknowledge the role of the Africa Union Commission as our coordinating body for the parties for a job well done. It can only get better, Mr. Chair, and we look forward to greater progress in this and the implementation of the convention in our region. Once again, allow me to congratulate the government of the Republic of the People and the people of Uzbekistan. We wish all participants safe journey back to our countries. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Armenia.
Thank you, Chair. It has been an honor for the delegation of the Republic of Armenia to take part in the 20th meeting of the Conference of Parties to CITES. We extend our sincere appreciation to the Chair for your leadership and vision, and to the CITES Secretariat for the excellent preparation of this session. We also express our gratitude to the government of Uzbekistan for its warm hospitality. We thank all delegations for their constructive engagement and for the spirit of compromise, consensus, and multilateral cooperation that guided our work. This conference has once again affirmed that the preservation of endangered species is vital to sustaining the balance between nature and human well-being. We trust that the discussions held here in Samarkand will translate into meaningful and practical actions at national, regional, and global levels. In this spirit, Armenia looks forward to hosting the UN Biodiversity Conference in Yerevan in October 2026. The event will bring together government, scientists, civil society, and the private sector to review collective progress in implementing the Memorial Global Biodiversity Framework and to chart effective pathways towards achieving its goals and targets. Thank you.
Thank you. Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Chair. It is an honor to address this distinguished gathering on behalf of the Zimbabwe delegation, and we extend our sincere gratitude and congratulations to the government of the Republic of Uzbekistan for successfully hosting the CITES CoP20 and for the amazing hospitality during our stay here in Samarkand. I would also like to thank the CITES Secretariat for the impeccable organization of the conference. The technical team, interpreters were always on point and helpful to us all. To all the volunteers and all other workers, especially the young people that we saw serving us, thank you very much. Chair, we go back home convinced that we made decisions that will enhance wildlife conservation through strengthening systems established for regulation of international wildlife trade. Zimbabwe returns to the capital satisfied and convinced that trade must remain legal, traceable, sustainable, and based on proven sound scientific evidence. Hence, it is important we continue to be guided by scientific advice and recommendations from parties responsible for the implementation of decisions and conservation of concerned decisions. As a proud party to CITES, we commend the manner differences were dealt with on very difficult decisions. And Zimbabwe continues to support that collaboration should not only be at meetings, but in learning from each other and strengthening national systems. In Zimbabwe, we value the role wildlife plays in the social and economic development of our countries. Hence, it is very important to strike a balance between conservation and development. Chair, Zimbabwe, as recently as Thursday last week, the head of state ascended to a new and gazetted, more focused Parks and Wildlife Act that will align our laws to the changing wildlife conservation environment. Of critical importance in the revised act is the establishment of the Human Wildlife Conflict Fund to assist victims of the conflict, as well as the tightening of hunting regulations to ensure sustainable
Zimbabwe,
harvesting.
please follow the 2 minutes time limit.
Thank you.
Thank you. New Zealand.
Thank you, Chair. Tēnā koutou katoa. On behalf of the Oceania region, I thank Uzbekistan for such generous hospitality in hosting CoP20. And indeed, we have greatly enjoyed the fabulous Uzbek cuisine and culture recommended by the Chair. We welcome the decisions to include new species on the CITES appendices, particularly endemic species, and we will be working as a region to ensure effective implementation. We particularly thank the proponents of proposals who included delayed implementation for species that affect Oceania, as this will give us time to prepare. We want to also acknowledge both committee chairs for their excellent work in guiding us through such an extensive agenda. Under your guidance, we managed to consider and decide on all the agenda items and all the proposals to amend the appendices. We've appreciated the opportunities for thorough discussion and the efforts to achieve consensus, which we realise is not always possible. And we wish Matthias a well-earned and enjoyable retirement. We thank the Secretariat for making all this work possible by supporting the meetings so effectively, and particularly HJ for your continuous support of our small region. New Zealand is proud to have Ngā Iwi o Taranaki Collective here as a representation of Indigenous peoples at the COP too. And lastly, I want to thank the members of our small Oceania region, with all 9 parties actively participating here. Thanks to Spret for supporting 4 extra delegates to attend and helping coordinate regional activities in Samarkand. It's been so fun working with you all. Thank you all. Ngā mihi.
Thank you. Switzerland.
Thank you, Chair. Switzerland would like to thank the government of Uzbekistan for its outstanding hospitality for the past 2 weeks. At the same time, we are grateful for the announcement of Panama to host COP21 and are looking forward to see you all there. We would also like to thank the Secretariat and the interpreters for their tireless work and support for all of us. This is greatly appreciated and has contributed significantly to the smooth running of the conference. We would like to congratulate the Chair of Committee 2 for completing the comprehensive work program and are thankful for her indulgence and her leadership. And now to the Chair of Committee 1, Matthias Lurcher. First of all, thank you so much, Mona, for your very warm words to Matthias, which gave me honestly goosebumps. While we align with all that you have said, let me add the following. Dear Mattu, first of all, I would like to thank you for your outstanding chairing of Committee 1. Given the workload, it was by no means certain that we would be able to complete all the items within the allotted time. The fact that we succeeded is largely thanks to your guidance. On behalf of Switzerland, I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude for your excellent leadership of our management authority over the past 20 years and for contributing so much to the CITES community as member of the Standing Committee and chair of the Animals Committee for 9 years. You have formed an outstanding team back in Switzerland that is partly here in Samarkand. I have huge shoes to fill. Mattu, this is your last working day in your life. Switzerland and the CITES community will miss you. Thank you for everything, and last but not least, Hopi Bay!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, dear colleagues. So I now turn to the CITES Secretary General for her closing remarks. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and allow me a moment to compose myself after those words from Switzerland.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, observers, special guests, colleagues, and friends, as we conclude the 20th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to CITES, I stand before you with immense pride in what you have achieved together. These 2 weeks have been remarkable, shaping the future of the convention and reaffirming its vital role in ensuring that international trade in wild animals and plants is sustainable and does not threaten their survival, as CITES has done for 50 years. I wish to begin by warmly expressing our enormous gratitude to the government of Uzbekistan, and in particular, the National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change, for the marvelous hospitality they have offered to the 3,488 COP20 participants in this magnificent city of Samarkand. A jewel of the Silk Road, Samarkand has once again been a crossroads of cultures, ideas, and cooperation, the very values that define CITES. To the chairs of our committees, Dr. Anna Wong and Dr. Matthias Lorscher, thank you for guiding complex debates with fairness, authority, and good humor. Your leadership, patience, and endurance have been exemplary. Matthias, we are truly saddened to see you leave a role in which you have demonstrated such excellence, and I wish you every success and joy as you embark on the next stage of your journey. To our Uzbek alternate chair and chair, you have done a magnificent job and guided the plenary wisely and efficiently from beginning to end. Please allow me to give you all some special CITES souvenirs to thank you.
Thank you.
So we've given them the logo, the crystal logo of CITES, but also a special voting card for CITES COP20 with their names on it, so they can remember their chairing of the committees.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And to my secretariat staff, including those working from Geneva, your professionalism, expertise, commitment, and dedication made this meeting possible. I am, as always, deeply grateful and in awe of your capacity to take on any task put before you, and with good humor and unwavering service to our parties. To the host country team and the volunteers, rapporteurs, technicians, and UNDSS, the security and safety, your professionalism and willingness to remain flexible to our needs have been indispensable and most appreciated. My special appreciation goes to the interpreters, whose deep knowledge of the topics under discussion has greatly enriched our deliberations. Your willingness to provide additional time for extended conversations demonstrates extraordinary professionalism and commitment. You are all part of the larger CITES family. Please, let's give all of those working behind the scenes a round of applause. This COP is also a moment of farewell. We thank Ms. Virginia Rodriguez-Zibenek, Ms. Penelope Ben, Ms. Pia Jonsson, Mr. Pascal Perrault, Mr. Philippe Rarda, and Mr. Yuan Liu for their years of service that strengthened this convention immeasurably. May I ask Philippe and Yuan please to stand. Dear colleagues, we will miss you and your expertise dearly and wish you much happiness and fulfillment in the next chapter of your lives. Participation at COP20 has been extraordinary. 157 credentials accepted, perhaps the highest ever, many of them present thanks to the donors who provided generous support through the sponsored Delegates Project. We saw strong engagement from all regions, especially Central Asia, and are very pleased with your strong commitment to work together on common challenges. You, the parties, have shown remarkable resolve and trust by supporting the 6.98% budget for 2026 to 2028. We know this was not easy, and your trust is not taken lightly. Every resource you provide to us is used with efficiency and accountability, always to serve you, honor the convention, and deliver on your priorities. Over these 10 days, you reviewed 50 proposals and added 77 new species to the CITES appendices, adopted 353 decisions, and held 46 rounds of voting, reflecting your willingness for consensus, compromise, and determination. Your constructive engagement allowed us to conclude without night sessions, which would have increased the costs associated with the meeting. We updated the CITES appendices, adding 75 species, including 50 marine species, while celebrating the recovery of the bontebok, now removed thanks to successful conservation. We must also acknowledge the remarkable conservation recovery of the saiga antelope in Kazakhstan, from a historic low of 21,000 individuals to a population now exceeding 4 million, and parties have now agreed to grant a precautionary approval for trade in specimens from Kazakhstan. And here is another milestone: the formal recognition of the 2 species of African elephants by CITES. This is not just a technical adjustment, it is a powerful acknowledgement of science and conservation realities. Your resolve to take measures to strengthen implementation of the convention shows in the number of items agreed under this banner. Among your achievements, we can mention stronger caviar labeling requirements for better traceability, progress on tree species information systems, and 2 new resolutions on jaguars and eels, reinforcing international cooperation and sustainability. Enforcement and combating wildlife crime were again central themes of COP20. Discussions highlighted progress made by parties with positive outcomes, such as reduced trafficking in species like elephants and rhinoceroses. Yet, the fight is far from over. Transnational organized crime groups continue to drive poaching and trafficking, underscoring the need for parties to treat wildlife crime as a serious offense, strengthen collaboration, and respond with persistence and vigor to ensure perpetrators are brought to justice. These priorities are reflected in COP20 outcomes, which strengthened resolutions and adopted numerous decisions. These include measures on wildlife crime linked to the internet, illicit financial flows, corruption, annual illegal trade reporting, and the work of specialized task forces on big cats and CITES-listed tree species. The COP also agreed on next steps for species most affected by poaching and illegal trade, such as totoaba, pangolins, cheetahs, Asian big cats, tortoises, freshwater turtles, and great apes. It reaffirmed the vital role of the International Consortium on Combating Wildlife Crime, or ICWIC, in supporting enforcement efforts and strengthening responses at all levels. These decisions provide a strong roadmap for parties to guide enforcement actions during the intersessional period. The decisions taken at this meeting will shape the future of CITES. Amendments to the appendices, the backbone of this convention, ensure that international trade remains sustainable and does not threaten species survival. The diversity of listings speaks volumes, from endemic geckos and iguanas to sloths, deepwater sharks, sea cucumbers, saiga antelope, Dorcas gazelle, and numerous bird species. This breadth underscores the truly global scope of our work. We also saw strong regional positions from Africa on vultures and mammals, and from Central and South America on tarantulas, finches, and reptiles. A growing concern about wildlife in the pets trade emerged alongside decisions on medicinal and aromatic plants, highlighting their importance for health, livelihoods, and cultures, an issue that will resonate as we prepare for World Wildlife Day in 2026. Beyond listings, this COP adopted a suite of decisions that will guide scientific and technical work for the next 3 years, setting priorities for the Animals and Plants Committees, the parties, and the Secretariat. These decisions ensure that CITES remains grounded in sound science and adaptive management, providing a clear roadmap for continued progress. You tackled complex issues, from Prau Brasilia, wood for violin bows, to wildlife in the pet trade, and adopted decisions that will guide scientific and technical work. These outcomes ensure CITES remains informed by sound science and adaptive management. Ladies and gentlemen, our work does not end here. In fact, what lies ahead is even more demanding. We leave Samarkand with an ambitious and challenging program of work, one that will require tough decisions, clear prioritization, and a collective commitment to deliver results that are both efficient and impactful. The Secretariat stands ready to support you every step of the way, but success will depend on your leadership and resolve. For us, this is not the end. It is the beginning of the next chapter, and together we must ensure that the momentum that we have built here translates into meaningful action. As we close COP20, let us carry forward the spirit of Samarkand, the spirit of cooperation, dialogue, and shared responsibility. Together, you have shown that multilateralism works and must continue. Together, you can ensure that wild species thrive, ecosystems flourish, and future generations inherit a planet rich in biodiversity. Thank you, and safe travels home.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, Madam Secretary General. Dear friends, colleagues, guests of Uzbekistan. On behalf of the National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change of the Republic of Uzbekistan, let me express our deepest gratitude to all the delegates and participants of the CITES CoP20 conference in historic Samarkand. For centuries, Samarkand has been a symbol of prosperity, a destination for scholars, artists, philosophers, students seeking knowledge, and religious scientists around the world. And today, under the leadership of His Excellency Shavkat Mirziyoyev, President of Uzbekistan, ancient Samarkand regaining its fame and becoming a hub for many global dialogues, until uniting people across the globe. In COP20, we were delighted to welcome more than 3,000 delegates from over 180 countries. First time every visit of head of environmental conventions and international organizations. At the same time, we observed great interest from NGOs, observers, developing partners, academia, and the media attending the events. A special mention to journalists, social media networks, reporters, who were able to share with the rest of the world. We had excellent press coverage with over 2,000 media articles in 40 languages published in more than 110 countries, reaching an estimated 6.5 billion impressions. 6.5 billion impressions. Ladies and gentlemen, the CITES COP20 became a truly historic event for Uzbekistan and Central Asia, as it's an important conference of parties to be hosted at this part of the world. There were the intensive weeks enriched with interactive discussions, high-level sessions, over 110 side events, occasional debates, and most importantly, collaborative efforts to find solutions to the emerging issues and challenges of migratory species. I firmly believe that these sessions and side events were valuable not only for our distinguished international guests, but also for the national experts and allowed to establish networking among professionals. This point in time is historic because the world has never been so connected in striving towards a common goal. Additionally, the Central Asian region is becoming increasingly visible as countries that share a common history, culture, environmental and climatic characteristics. Nature truly knows no borders. Enhancing regional cooperation for the benefit of wildlife and regulation of international trade are and will be priority for the Uzbekistan. And we stand by to cooperate with other governments, international partners, and expert scientific community. I'm honored to mention at the emergence of COP, we, Central Asian states, demonstrate our unity. Have signed numbers of agreements and launched joint projects aimed to further consolidate conservation efforts, biodiversity protection, and enhance regional cooperation, which was fully in line with the slogan, CITES at 50 in Samarkand, bridging nature and people. I call you distinguished parties to work with us on developing and practical measures. We would like to take this opportunity to encourage the global community to actively engage with the Central Asia region. Uzbekistan is committed to further fostering environmental diplomacy and promoting an approach of living in harmony with nature, just our ancestors did for generations before us. Last Saturday, we all worked together to make Samarkand greener by establishing the CITES CoP20 Green Park. This park will stand as a legacy of the event, showcasing our collective efforts towards a greener and more sustainable world. It's a testament to the fact that we can achieve great things when we work together. Dear colleagues, participants, we want to assure that Uzbekistan is committed to being active participants of the dialogue of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. During chairmanship of Uzbekistan, we are committed to implement Samarkand Declaration and Action Plan of Regional Cooperation 2026-2032, enhance collaboration with civil society, youth organizations, and furthering transboundary cooperation. I think all agree with me if I say we have a responsibility in front of future generation, and that responsibility requires immediate actions now. I encourage you to unite and consolidate our efforts. Distinguished friends, I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to Madame Yvonne Higuero, the Secretary General, and her team, committee chairs for their excellent work and professionalism, valuable contribution to make this COP successful. This Conference of Parties is important of its kind in the region of Central Asia, and it's being held in accordance with the United Nations requirements and procedures. It was a great experience for our team. I would like to express gratitude to my entire team at the National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change for their outstanding work during the past months of preparation for CITES 20. Their loyalty, dedication, and hard work are truly appreciated. Special thanks to the volunteers, interpreters, securities, administration of the staff of the Expo Center, and everyone who contributed to successful hosting of this event at the highest level. Also, our journey at CITES CoP20 in Samarkand is coming to an end, and most of you will be leaving coming days. We don't say goodbye. Instead, I wish you a bon voyage and hope to see you again soon. Katta Rahmat. Thank you. So with this, we have reached the end of the meeting. Thank you again. And I declare the 20th meeting of the Conference of the Parties officially closed.
Just one last housekeeping announcement. The extraordinary meeting of the Animals Committee will take place from noon in 15 minutes until 1 p.m. in the Snow Leopard Room. Extraordinary AC meeting, 12 to 1 p.m. Extraordinary meeting of the Plants Committee will be held from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. in Great Bustard Room. Extraordinary PC, 1 to 2 p.m. in Great Bustard. Please take note that these two extraordinary meetings of the Animals and Plants Committees are for members and alternate members of the committee only. The 80th meeting of the Standing Committee will take place in Rhodiola, Committee 2 room from 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you for your announcement.